Hello again. Well, round 2 of the Champions League, and more turn-ups, as the old saying goes, than Ronnie Corbett's trousers. Time to have a look at what the European papers make of it all. Let's start off with the biggest story of the week, which is, of course, Milan's 1-0 defeat by Zurich. The 7-time European champions, not just beaten, but beaten at home by a Swiss side who were the laughingstock of the previous round. Naturally, the result drove the Swiss fans wild, with scenes of polite clapping in Zurich city centre and a rapturous response from the Swiss papers. Blick, 1-0, you've made history. Thank you, Hannu Tiernen, whose spectacular backheeled volley, of course, sealed the win. Meanwhile, back in Milan, manager Leonardo, who hasn't looked this ashen-faced since he shared a TV studio with Alan Shearer, is now staring at the latest and gravest chapter of the club's Gotterdammerung. The club haven't scored in their last 4 games, including 2 0-0s with newly promoted sides, and as the Gazzetta dello Sport puts it, the music is now finally over for this Milan. What do they make of it around the rest of Europe, though? Well, the Swedish press, Expressen Football, says Milan football slag. Milan are the fattest, oldest and most satiated club in the European game. Interesting, a sort of sporting Mr. Creosote. A gentler view in L'Equipe of France, AC Milan dans la miserie. I think we will get that one. While back in Italy, the Corriere dello Sport has Milan, they're bad enough to make you cry. And Vice President Galliani, though, saying, hands off Leonardo, which sounds a bit harsh, still, if it works for Saudi shoplifters. Well, Leonardo's problems aside, the main culprit for the Italian press is none other than owner Silvio Berlusconi, a man who, since those Call Girl tapes went public, must be used to taking beatings at home, but whose systematic failure to invest in new players over the years has cost the squad dearly. According to the Italian press, he's now planning to sell the club up. In fact, one Italian paper on Thursday even had stories that he'd already sold 40% to Colonel Gaddafi, raising fears that Milan's future might lie with a controversial and politically reviled dictator. Or Berlusconi might sell. Nice cake. Now, on to the other big story from the week, though, which also came from Italy. Fiorentina's 2-0 win over Liverpool. Bit of a surprise, this one. Fiorentina had come into the game struggling and with their main striker out suspended. Liverpool, by contrast, were on a real high after their 6-1 thrashing of Hull, and Fernando Torres looked frankly unstoppable. In the event, though, the Spaniard looked about as potent in Florence as that statue of David with the tiny winky in the main square. And the headlines on Wednesday all belong to the young man Jovetic. Jovetic il Magnifico. Montenegrin player is only 19 and he only got his first Champions League start on Tuesday because Alberto Gilardino was out. 2 goals later and he's undroppable. Not only that, but according to the Gazzetta, he's the new Roberto Baggio. Or if you prefer in the Corriere della Sera, he's the new Johan Cruyff. Whichever, his first half brace means curly wigs are now selling out on the market stalls of Florence and that Fiorentina's inferiority complex with the Premier League apparently is now over. Which is nice. Speaking of inferiority complexes, meanwhile, let's finish off with a little look at humble FC Real Madrid, who in 7 minutes on Wednesday night put 3 goals past Olympique Marseille, taking their tally for the Champions League so far to 8 goals scored and 2 conceded in 2 matches, and Cristiano Ronaldo's to 9 goals in all competitions so far, all of which sent the Spanish press into ecstasies everywhere but in Barcelona as usual. Let's take a look. Call them Cristiano FC, suggests AS. He is genial. Meanwhile, Madrid are a goal machine, according to Marca. And over in El Mundo Deportivo from Catalonia, let's have a look. Xavi bets on Cesc. He's got Barcelona in his DNA, it says. Ah, yes, down here, little box there. Madrid beat Marseille 3-0. Well, as Marca point out, no one in Europe comes close right now to matching Real Madrid's extraordinary goal-scoring rate of 3.4 goals a game on average. Not Arsenal, who only manage 2.8 right now, nor Barcelona themselves, who are only managing 2.5. Yep, the Merengues, whose destiny, lest we forget, is to star in their very own Champions League final at the Bernabeu next May, do seem to be living up to the hype. And who's up next for them in Europe? None other than Milan. Should make interesting reading, so make sure you join us for that in a couple of weeks' time. For now, though, goodbye.